Hey everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I hope you all are doing well. Today we're taking a look at Death Stranding 2 on the beach for the PC, which launched today uh, on March 19th, 2026. Um, I am currently running the latest NVIDIA driver. As you can see, this is NVIDIA driver version 595.79, which was released roughly 12 days ago, so March 10th, 2026. As of this recording, that is the latest driver. So, for starters, this game, upon first booting up, has a pre shader compilation process, which takes roughly a minute. So, on my PC, it took roughly 1 minute to complete. So, your mileage may vary. You may have a faster time or slower time than I did, depending on your CPU, of course. So, as far as my system specs, I'll have it in the description. I am running an Intel Core i9 9900K at 5 gigahertz, um, an RTX 2080 Ti with overclock plus 50 overclock on the core clock, plus 1,000 overclock on the memory. And as far as system memory, I have a 32 gigabyte DDR4 memory at 4,000 megahertz. That's the default clock. So without further ado, let's take a look at the options menu, the settings, and see if this is a good PC port. Okay, for starters, I just want to say I am so glad this is not using Unreal Engine 5. In my opinion, Unreal Engine 5 is a disgrace and a cancer to the gaming industry. All games that I've played that runs on Unreal Engine 5 have stuttering issue and terrible frame times and just blurry and overall run like shit. So, excuse my French. So let's take a look at the options. Okay. Uh, the first option menu, you're greeted with the game settings and difficulty. Um, you can make some adjustments to your difficulty level. Everything is pretty much set to default. You have the privacy options. In this case, I set mine to limited data. You can set it to full data if you want, but I always have mine set to limited. So the next option is controller settings. I am playing on a mouse and keyboard, so everything here is set to default. If you're playing with a DualSense or DualShock 4 controller or Xbox controller, uh, you can come in here and make some modification. The next screen is mouse and keyboard. I just want to take a moment to, praise the developers for including toggle options. Um, I've been gaming on PC for a while now, roughly 15 years, if not longer. And I do not like to hold my right mouse button to aim. So I always set it to toggle. And a lot of games nowadays don't include that option. So I have to use an auto hotkey, some kind of script to basically force that option in most shooters. So to have it here in the options menu, I really applaud the developers for that. So I like to hold sprint and toggle aim and toggle crouch. So all those options I did modify. So you can come in here is essentially accessibility settings. So you can come in here, turn off aim assist, which I always do, and make some changes to, toggle or hold options. So next screen is your display settings. Um, I am capturing this video on a capture card, um, not using the NVIDIA Shadow Play. Um, there is a performance penalty if you use, your display like NVIDIA Shadow Play or AMD Relive or whatever Intel's version of those are. From my testing, you lose roughly 10 FPS at the very minimum. So it's roughly 10 or more FPS that you lose if you're using those recording softwares. So for me, I shouldn't incur the performance loss because I'm, recording this on my iMac, which is an external computer. So for as far as the play option, I'm playing in full screen. Um, Aspect ratio is set to auto. Display is my maximum resolution, which is 2560 by 1440. As far as upscaling method, you have four different presets. So Pico, which is progressive image compositor, it's equivalent to the PlayStation 5, whatever that means. I've never heard of this upscaler before. So there's that. There's DLSS. There's FSR 3.1.5, and there's XESS, Intel's version. So for right now, I'm going to set it to native AA, and I will be testing DLSS quality. But for right now, I'm going to start with native AA, which, is, in my opinion, is far superior to all these fake upscaling image AI crap. Um, all right, so dynamic resolution is set to zero, off, VSync set to off, frame gen set to off, and then the NVIDIA Reflex, which is an abomination, causes input lag and frame time issue. I always set that to off. So next option is your graphical options presets. So everything is maxed out for me except ray tracing. So you do have two forms of ray tracing. Uh, Ambient occlusion you can set to ray tracing. So for me, I'm setting that to very high as of right now. And then reflections, you have ray tracing high and ray tracing very high. I'm guessing ray tracing very high is path tracing or equivalent to path tracing. But for right now, I'm just gonna use very high. So like I said, everything is set to the maximum preset. And then you have next page is language setting, nothing exciting. Audio. So I do have a 5.1 surround sound card connected to my motherboard, and connected to that sound card is my true 5.1 analog sound headset. So you know you connect it to the back of the sound card, which gives you far superior audio, in my opinion, to virtualized audio or software audio. So my sound card is a Creative Sound Blaster AE Plus, so pretty high end stuff. And lastly, you have accessibility settings. So as I mentioned earlier, you can set toggle or hold options. As I mentioned, my aim is set to toggle right mouse aim, and sprint is set to hold left shift. And we are back in Death Stranding. Here's the opening mission. All right. So this is native AA DLSS AA. As you can see, the top left corner, I'm using my full GPU. My GPU is at 100% load, 65 degrees Celsius, and the GPU wattage is fluctuating from 320 to 334, 335, which is pretty good. So I don't have any CPU bottleneck. I mean, this landscape, this draw distance is incredible, beautiful. Just shows you don't need fake Unreal Engine nanite to pull this kind of level of detailed geometry, especially further into the distance. So I'm hovering currently at 48, 50 FPS. Again, like I said, this is native DLSS AA. So let's move around. Let's see if there's any stutter. The frame time is beautiful. There's a little bit of fluctuation, but nothing bad at all. Uh, my CPU is at 24, 26% usage, 58 degrees Celsius, 69, 70 watts. All right, I guess it's supposed to keep going that way. All right. So yeah, overall, the game seems to be running well. No hitches, no stutter. Definitely looks better than pretty much almost all Unreal Engine game that I've played, except maybe Hellblade 2. Um, I mean, oh crap. All right. If I fall off this ledge. Yeah. GPU VRAM is a little bit under 8 gigs. So if you have an 8 gigabyte VRAM GPU, so in my case, I also have a 2080 Super, you're going to be hitting close to that VRAM usage. I'm sure it's going to spike past that pretty soon. System memory, um, you need a minimum of 16. So I have a 32 gig. The game is using over 13 gig as of right now, um, which is expected. So let's see, what do I do here? Carry that, and then T is aerial camera. Okay, beautiful. Look at this landscape. I mean, just beautiful. Wow. So in case you're wondering why you're not hearing any audio, I muted the music from the settings. So because the music is a bit loud, um, not sure why, but anyway, yeah. So my GPU power is fluctuating now a little bit more. So I am at 308. So might be okay. It's back up to 330. So CPU optimization seems to be really good. Um, Again, keep in mind this is an RTX 2080 Ti and an i9-9900K. 8 years ago, 9 years ago, 7 years ago, these were top of the line PCs, right? Uh, Top of the line specs. But it's 7, 8 years later. Sure, they're sort of mid range right now. But yeah, it still gets the job done. This is a FreeSync display, so um, I don't really feel it. If I didn't have the FPS counter on, Rivers Tuner statistics, I wouldn't be able to tell. Yeah, it does feel less than 60, but it's not it's not that bad. So my average FPS is 48. 0.1% low is 38, so it shows really good frame time. 1% low, roughly the same figure. Um, yeah, you can see my CPU usage is flush. All my cores threads are um, you know uh, being active. So 16 threads in total, 8 cores, and they're hovering in the 20s, 30s. Um, yeah, there you go. So we've hit over 8 gigabyte VRAM usage. Um, person. Yeah, so as you can see, you know, no crazy frame time issue. Um, yeah, the game does look pretty fantastic. So let's pause now and take a look at DLSS quality. I'm pretty sure my FPS should hit at least 60. The image quality is not going to be as pristine. Obviously, it's upscaling from what most likely 720p. So let's take a look. Set DLSS to quality, right? So I should get a boost in FPS. And yep, before I was hovering around 48, so now I'm at 68. So that's a 20 FPS gain. It does look a little softer. I'm guessing this is using DLSS 3 version 3 dot something. Um, yeah, but other than that, it's not too bad. I prefer to play my game in native. I don't like upscaling or frame jam, but this is what I have to work with. So we're going up this mountain. You can see since I turned on DLSS quality, my my GPU wattage has dropped significantly. So before I was hovering around 330, now I'm hovering around 280, 309. So that shows some, CPU bottleneck. Um, Obviously because I'm upscaling from a lower resolution, right? Yeah, you can see now I'm in 251, 250 something. So yeah, I'm not even sure where I'm supposed to go. Yeah, I'm still below 60 FPS. I guess I'm supposed to go down here. Uh, yeah, the grass does look very shimmery and soft. DLSS, yeah, it's not. I mean, it's so funny how all these companies like Nvidia, AMD, they try to sell all these upscaling AI BS. It's still always going to be inferior to MSAA, SMAA, which are native AA, right? So, but this is where we're headed as far as gaming: fake frames, fake pixels. But anyway, yeah, as you can see, my GPU wattage is in 250 watts, so I am hitting a CPU bottleneck, um, which is unfortunate. Um, the frame time is a little bit more erratic, um, but you know, what can I say? Yeah, this is a very long intro. Like, it's just, am I just supposed to walk? Um, okay, where am I supposed to go? Yeah, see, I've dropped. I'm hitting massive CPU limitations now. You can see I'm running the same 48 FPS as I did before. Although my CPU, my GPU usage is at 100%. Uh, don't let that fool you. I'm still CPU bottleneck because my GPU wattage has dropped roughly 50 watts. Uh, so it looks like some areas incur more um, CPU cost than other areas. But let's see. So I guess I'm supposed to climb up here, use ladder. All right. Not familiar with this game. Climb, climb, climb. Okay, I guess I'm supposed to go up there. Yeah, all in all, um, it the game runs okay. Um, it could be better. It's definitely not Doom Eternal levels of performance, or um, what are some Sony exclusive that ran pretty well, like um, Days Gone, for example, on the PC. Uh, that uses DX11, which, in my opinion, I think DX11 and DX and Vulkan are far superior and more stable to DX12. Um, yeah, so, but anyway, I wish we had that option to select Vulkan or DX11 as opposed to DX12. Okay, so yeah, I mean, with this level of performance, I can tell ray tracing is going to be even worse. I'll probably be in the sub 30s because I'm definitely going to incur massive CPU limitation um, with my system. And I get a feeling that, you know, if I look on forums, people are going to be mentioning the same things. It doesn't matter if you have like an AMD 7800X 3D, 7950X 3D, 9800X 3D, 9950X 3D. You're probably going to run into the same limitation. Maybe not to this extent, but um, yeah, that's seems to be the case nowadays with most DX12 games. You run into CPU limitations very fast. Um, but yeah, overall, this is a beautiful looking game. The weather effect is pretty impressive. The landscape, the geometry. I mean, I haven't noticed a single pop in. So it begs to differ. It begs the question, like, why do we need technologies like what is it called, nanite, Unreal Engine nanite? Because there's not a single pop in. From doesn't matter how far close I am to the rocks or the grass, everything just it's just pristine, and I get the full level of detail the entire time. So crossing this water, let's see, ladder. All right, aim. All right, and then place. Okay, got a trophy. So let's go. Okay, so dismantle ladder. There you go. Yeah. Um, VRAM. Mm, it's hit about 8 gigabytes. So if you have an 8 gigabyte GPU, a 3070, this is what I say. I try to tell people that the 2080 Ti, in my opinion, is on par, if not faster, than the 3070 Ti, because you get that extra 3 gigabyte frame buffer, right? Look, it's climbed up to 8.3 gigabytes now. 3070 Ti would choke at the settings. No way you can run this. Um, yeah, but I'm curious if other YouTubers release a 3070 Ti video, how well it'll perform. But anyway, this is the cutscene. It's capped at 60. So we're gonna come back and take a look at ray tracing and ray tracing very high. Thank you.